go. Okay,
Tammy,
many
Tammy, what
asking.
are you doing?
I'm memorizing.
It's a bit late for that. We have to record now.
How about a jamboree?
Uh,
How about a jamboree? Five minutes.
Tammy,
What?
we're on a schedule.
Okay, okay, I got this. Hi, Hearties. My name is Cammy, the
Ah,
hooked Hardy,
Tammy,
and we are here to talk about
yeah,
uh, 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 uh,
Tammy,
episode 7 and 8 of season.
cut,
What?
cut.
What? What?
Do
What?
do I need to recast you? Faith might be available.
Fine, fine. I'll try again. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Hey, Hardee's! Welcome to the Hardee's Hotline. I am Cammy, the hooked Hardee.
Hey everybody, I'm Sarah, the Hawk-Eyed Hardy, and we are here to talk about episodes 7 and 8 of season 13 of When Calls the Heart. That's right,
It,
another double episode.
yes, another double episode for In a Jam and Take Two. Double episode, Take Two.
Yes, we did that on purpose.
Completely. I just want to start this out. I'm jumping ahead, but now I won't have to say it when we get there.
Okay.
I love watching great actors play bad actors,
It's pretty
or
fun.
hearing someone that you know is a fabulous actor go, I've never seen myself as an actor, or I can't act very well. when when Tyler Hines said it in It Was Always You, I laughed my head off. I can't remember what movie it was, but Chad Michael Murray said it in one of his Hallmark movies, laughed my head off. And so now, of course, I'm going to laugh my head off because
Yeah,
it's Kevin and Aaron.
right. That was
Yeah,
well
well
played
played.
in a way of not being well played. They played well, not playing well.
Touche. And of course, being film themed, that has got to be one of my favorite episodes. I do have a tiny little point to make.
Oh,
3 episodes with no kiss. Are you kidding me?
I did know that was going to come up in our talk pretty early, and I was right. Yeah.
You win the bet against yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, and they came so close in this last one. Yeah.
Going for the kiss and then touch foreheads and make the pretty picture that
Well,
they
right,
couldn't.
but then what I thought you were talking about was as the characters in the movie, the whole entire premise was they have to play these characters because they can kiss. And so I assumed we would see a whole bunch of takes of them trying to kiss, and then we like never saw them kiss. It was almost that they were teasing that they were like, we're teasing you that there's going to be all these kisses and then there's no kisses.
The 2 episodes surrounding Valentine's Day, and then the episode where they are supposed to play a couple in love. Come on.
At least we got to see the characters kiss. Different actors.
Fernando and Faith as Octavia and Apollo.
I I I know we're gonna like kind of go back and cover the first episode first, but while we're on the names, I could get behind Apollo because it was with something more mainstream like Millie. But when she switched it up to Octavia, I was just like, what?
When are we going to get another kiss, Sarah?
I don't know. Let's come back to that. Let's come back to that.
Okay, fine. Let's go to the Jamboree.
A very good place to go.
A very good place to start. You did it.
I
You did
did.
it.
I did. As soon as I said it, I knew.
First thing is, did you realize, because it took me until the second time I watched it to really realize this, do you
Hmm.
realize that the entire episode took place in one day, except for the last scene or two?
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
That was mind boggling,
No, it was,
especially when
yeah,
episodes usually cover at least 3 days,
yeah,
if not more.
yeah. A lot are more like a week or so. I thought it worked really, really well for the topic.
Oh,
I thought
absolutely.
for the fact that you're trying to show how fast everybody has to come together and how fast they have to work to meet this deadline, to
Yes.
film it in that way and have so much take place just in that one day really just made it more realistic and more
Oh,
dramatic.
yes, absolutely.
Because if you're working that hard, you're not going to have like filler, you know? And so, like in all the other episodes, important stuff happens, but everything important doesn't happen in one day. So you have filler and you have like little time jumps to the next day and a couple days later and next week because a lot of things that they're portraying take a long time to develop. And you have to have that in between time that you're not seeing. But here you can't.
Exactly, because they were on a deadline.
Yeah.
What does
Okay.
Rosemary say? The deadline is my muse.
I have to say, while Minnie was the key character in this episode, Rosemary was just lovely in this episode. Between the way she gave Minnie the like push, to take charge and to be so important and encourage her, but then also took over when she needed to and
Yeah.
saw that it was necessary
And don't forget, bequeathing her the clipboard.
and taking it back.
I'm taking it back. She gave up the clipboard. That's big. That's
It
huge
was
for
very big.
Rosemary.
It was very big. Jamboree.
Yes.
First of all, I do kind of wonder how much money this is because 500 jars of jam now would not be cheap. Oh, inflation, whatever. So it's going to be a different amount. But like,
Yeah.
they're going to use this money to buy half of the cafe. I'm like, that's a lot of jam.
Okay, so here's what I figure, because I had the same question.
Like, what?
Yeah, no, I had the same thought, but the fact that they are selling it to a fancy hotel in Hamilton, that probably is going to bring in a little bit more than just selling them to a mercantile. They said they needed 500 jars to start, but I don't think that they were going to stop, because that's a big hotel for that time.
Yeah.
The Iceland Hotel, I think it was called, and Hamilton, big city for the time, and there are probably a lot of people going in and out of Hamilton, and you got a lot of rich people in Hamilton. I bet the Thatchers go and breakfast there at least twice a week.
Yeah, it's definitely probably not a place where you just have breakfast if you're staying there.
I
It's
agree.
probably a destination restaurant.
Like the Brown Hotel in Denver, Colorado.
I can't believe you found a crossover there.
Can't believe I did either. Yes, I can.
For those of you that don't know, go watch Signed, Sealed, Delivered.
Yes, go watch Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Hashtag postables. Okay.
Um, so yeah, so those are the kind of the big things that jumped out at me. Um, I do have to poke a hole in one plot point.
Please.
They were clearly making many types of jam, not all one type of jam. So once you figured out one jar of jam that didn't have sugar, you should be able to eliminate all the jars that are not that type of jelly when you're tasting. You shouldn't have to go through every single jar.
I think I can push back on that plot point just a tiny bit. Tiny bit. Is in that they didn't pack all the same kinds together
It's
in the
possible.
crates. I think they probably just were packing them up. And so they probably didn't have all of the same flavors to be able to taste in one crate. So they had to unload
Oh,
multiple crates.
unloading them all, yes, but it sure appeared like they were tasting them all. And I'm like, well, if the jar Lee tried was this color, you really only have to open and try other jars that are that color.
Oh, come
of
on, the colors are very hard to distinguish.
I do want to argue though, because I made a lot of jam last summer, so I feel slightly like a small expert. But for me, it was huge because I've only made jam two other times in my life, and I did make over 100 jars of jam myself in just a couple of days, but all by myself, I will say. And I did all the picking myself, all the berry picking, all the whole thing. And I had no label liquors.
Wow,
I did it
that's
all.
impressive. You also have modern conveniences that they did not have.
Come on. Let me toot my horn a little bit.
Okay, speaking of horn, I'm sorry.
Go for
I
it. Go for
wasn't gonna do it, but you just led me
it.
right
Okay.
there.
Okay.
The bequeathing of the clipboard.
Hmm.
Did you hear the trumpet sound when when Rosemary said, "A woman with a clipboard can build an empire." Brum, brum.
And I will say Elizabeth was so expressive in that entire episode. I just loved it was back to that. Like we haven't really seen a lot of Elizabeth and Rosemary scenes lately. Like when we have, they've been very serious scenes
Yeah,
lately. And so it's been really fun to see them back at their little fun friendship banter.
yeah, it's very true. Cough twice if I'm right. My favorite thing about Elizabeth this episode, I loved her outfit.
Yeah.
And to have an episode taking place on one day, that was a really good outfit to have on
Right.
one
Because
day.
it's not
The one
changing.
thing
Yeah.
is, those were very light colors and there was no apron. So if she had gotten even a little bit of jam the way she did with Opal when she was watching her,
She's learned a lot though. She's
she's
learned a
learned a
lot.
lot, but she's making jam. You would think that she would cover that beautiful flowered blouse and coral skirt.
She was just pouring sugar in though, because they it was assembly line. She wasn't doing the bake, the cooking where it's bubbly.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And
But,
she wasn't doing the stomping either.
and talking about going to Italy,
Um, it was so perfect to do the bee sting, and it was so reminiscent of When Hope Calls, when they did a very similar storyline with Jefferson Brown's character Joe, who owns that mercantile in Brookfield. And and even at that time, I was like, that's the perfect actor on that show to do
Yes.
like comedic, over the top, like allergic reaction injury type thing. And
Yeah.
again, Ben being the absolute perfect actor to pull that off on One Calls the Heart, but also the perfect character to have it happen to. Um, it was so over the top, but yet so realistic at the same time. Um, and just the perfect amount of comedy. And also that realization, like when people aren't feeling well, how they'll just kind of say things that they normally wouldn't. And I know
Ooh.
he started the conversation about kids intentionally, but definitely got a little more loopy after getting some medication and dealing with the bee sting, which he's immune to.
I'm immune to bee stings.
Yeah, that's not a thing. And
That's not a
Amanda
thing.
plays so well off him. That was such great. Like I didn't see it at first when they started dating. I was just like, okay, pair some people up, whatever. But they play off each other so well. It's not like that really strong romantic chemistry, but it's just like perfect, great friends romantic chemistry, you know?
Yeah,
Like they're
yeah.
just perfect for each other.
I wrote down the whole speech because I was just laughing so hard. I was like, I have to get this down. This sting has me thinking about my mortality. Life is short. We have to take that trip to Italy. We have to have those kids. Picture it. Five little Hickam Juniors wandering around a piazza.
And also, he's one of five, correct? I
No,
believe he has.
I think it's more. I think he
Oh,
has five
really?
sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. But also interesting that he says five little Hickam Juniors. Like, is he expecting all boys? Because coming from his
Said
family,
Hickam Juniors. He didn't say Mike Juniors. If anyone could do it, it was Ben.
yeah, no,
It,
it was perfect.
it really was.
Just have to point out, and I know like every season's got a different arc, everything's a little bit different, but as a whole, this show does a really good job of throughout a season having a couple episodes that are really heavy comedically with still having something dramatic happening, but really having the main focus be something silly and funny and lighthearted. And I thought it was really clever this year to have them kind of back to back because I felt like these two episodes were like the silly episodes with like the
Yeah.
jam and then the show. And it just for me it was like really nice in the middle of the season to just be like, okay, we're still dealing with this big tragedy that was going on. There's still this drama with Christopher and the fire, but it's not taking center stage. We like started out really dramatic. We really focused on heavy storylines and trauma for the teens and everything and then just move into something lighthearted because we know it's going to get probably pretty dramatic in a different way towards the end of the season. I was actually reading an article about this a few days ago where they were talking about in this era of television all these shorter seasons on streaming services and all of these different like you don't get the 25, 30 episode seasons anymore that kind of go
Right.
throughout the whole year. And they were like talking about how when you had those long seasons, there were these fun filler episodes because they couldn't have the drama going 30 episodes through the year.
Why
And
not?
and then they would throw in these filler episodes that maybe didn't even have the whole cast, like, you know, or that didn't even take place in the same place, like a dream sequence
Yeah.
or a holodeck episode on Star Trek or things like that, where it was like it didn't really tie to the overall story at all, but it was just fun, and you only had maybe a couple of the main characters in it, and that gave all the other actors like time off and just all different things. And then you had these episodes that could just stand alone and just be fun. And that we really don't have that anymore on television. And I was thinking, watching these two episodes, that they do a good job of adding that type of thing in for fun while not taking away and not feeling like a filler episode because there was still enough content about
Yeah.
the season arc to matter and to not feel like we're wasting our time out of 12 because we only get 12 episodes. Why are we wasting our time on this story? But it still gives you that really heartwarming, happy feel that we love about this show.
Yeah. And it's so funny that you would say that because I was noticing how they are rotating people
Mm-hmm.
and having characters make a big appearance after they haven't for a while,
Mm-hmm.
or vice versa. And I even wrote it down in my notes. We haven't seen Florence and Ned for a while. This is great. We got to see a whole lot more of them.
Yeah.
And then Opal showed up. We haven't seen a storyline surround Opal in years. That was really great, I thought,
Yeah.
that we get to see her again. And we hadn't seen Faith and Lily not in the forefront in
Right.
quite a while. And we did. I really, really liked that. The sad part was that Oliver, Allie, Joseph, and Minnie were all missing from episode 8, take 2. But, but Joseph and Minnie had a pretty big storyline in a jam.
Yes. And
And
Oliver's been very prominent in the early episodes. So it is kind of that give and take of like when you have a big ensemble cast, you do have to give and take because A, you can't have that many people on set all at the same time
uh
very often. They
yeah,
try to for huge episodes like weddings and things like that. When they did the Christmas movie, they often had just about everybody there.
yeah.
But that's really hard casting wise and
It's
everything.
also very hard money wise.
Yes. Yes. And it's also hard to coordinate when you do a show that is only 10 episodes or 12 episodes a season. It's hard to secure your actors every year if you're continuing. This show films every single year for 14 years now.
Yeah,
But for like what, 4 months? These people have to live. They have to do other things in their life. They can't only work for 4 months out of a year. That would be wonderful. But as much as we're like, oh, these people are famous, they don't make that much. And most of these people are two people in the family are both actors. We've got Aaron and Ben, and it's like there's not some
and
other spouse that's got like a $400,000 job at a
Kevin and Kayla,
Kevin and Kayla.
Julie and Chris,
Yeah. So I mean, there's been a lot of talk about that lately in showbiz about just, how we do put all of these actors on this pedestal. Like they're so famous, that doesn't mean that they're millionaires. It's not like Friends when they were making like $1 million an episode. Being able to balance the schedule so that they can have other jobs and go to other places. Andrea comes to mind as the big one back in like season 4. She was on like 3 different television shows,
yeah,
and she
she was
had
a
to
busy lady.
she was back and forth to different sets like in the same week. It was very crazy for
And
her.
Kevin
Yes, and Kevin was doing the same
going
thing
back
in
and forth
Heartland.
between When Calls the Heart and Heartland.
Yeah. So Hallmark does a really good job of trying to work with their actors
Yeah,
and let them have other jobs for other networks and being really respectful of that. Like, we know you have to make a living. We want to be part of that. What can we do so we can make it work? They're not going to bend over backwards for somebody that's not a key character, but if they can make it work, they seem to.
yeah. No, that's a great point, and it's something that we don't really think of a whole lot, and
Yeah.
because we're just down here in the viewership. So we circled back around, but we ended up right where we needed to be because because there was such a beautiful moment between Minnie and Joseph that I had to make a note of because it reminded me of when they were having the conversation about faith and works. Remember, we talked about that a few episodes ago?
Yes.
So, Minnie says, "We're gonna need a miracle." What does Joseph say? One miracle coming up.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch those cartoon Christmas classics when you were a kid? Frosty the
Oh,
Snowman,
yeah,
Twas
totally.
the Night. Did you ever see Twas the Night Before Christmas?
I know I did, but not like as frequently. That one's not like seared in my memory
Seared in your memory. Okay.
like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was.
Right, yeah. So there is a song in "Twas the Night Before Christmas." It's my favorite song in that TV special. It's called "Even a Miracle Needs a Hand."
Okay.
And I just, that's immediately what I thought of. We're going to need a miracle. One miracle coming up because I'm going to work my tail off to make sure that it happens for you. I'm
Yeah,
sitting there watching and I just go, even a miracle needs a hand.
I love it. And in this case, it honestly needed a lot of hands.
A lot of hands.
And maybe some hooves.
Maybe a couple.
Maybe a couple. I like how they're growing Jed's character even when he's not on screen. They're just like, throw Jed in there. Just we've seen him a few times. He hasn't done much, but we've seen him a few times. We can definitely tell that there's some more stuff brewing with him and Molly. I forgot to mention that. If I wanted to mention that a few weeks ago when we had the fire episode. Did you notice when they were out digging the trench, when they had to rush back to town, they took each other's hands and ran?
Yes.
And
Yes, I did.
that was so sweet. I was happy it was still happening.
Yeah. Let's talk about a new character who was very present and who's causing a few problems
All
over
right.
and over and over again. I'll be completely honest and say that when Will walked in the room and I was watching and he saw Fernando on screen, he looked at me and said, "Is he playing Spanish or is he supposed to actually be Spanish?"
It,
No, no, he's a Spaniard. he's he's playing up the charm, and that just, and
yeah.
that's the thing, is when you're going so overboard with the charm, then it makes your voice go a little haywire.
Yeah. Let's dive into Lucas because this is a tough one for a lot of Hearties. I know some people are upset that they're taking this route
Again.
again. Um, and honestly, so my kids, huge Hearties, but they haven't been watching regularly
Yeah.
lately, because they're just really busy being teenagers now. But they were in the room for a big chunk of this episode, while I was watching, and immediately taken by his character and like, what's going on? Who's he? Explain this to me. Um, and they immediately went there. They were like, they're doing that to Lucas again? Like, and my kids didn't even really like Lucas, but they're like, why? And I was like, well, so I was trying to explain it to them, and I was thinking, honestly, how fair is that? Like, again, we hate it because we want him to be happy. But if you do, devil's advocate, that's what I'm here for. If you do look at reality, if someone had gone through what Lucas went through with Elizabeth and Nathan, he would have a horrible time trusting whoever he fell for next, whether there was another person or not.
And there is another person.
And there is, but like, even if they hadn't written that character in, they had to write in a distrust issue. How do I trust this person? I fully trusted someone else and it didn't work. Like, that just is normal to feel that way and to have to work through that. And so to me, I was expecting that to happen in one way or another with this relationship with Edie.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect that they were doing this, and I don't think that it's going to be any more drawn out. Like, I'm guessing that like by the next episode, the love triangle issue will be over. But I see why they did it, to really push him into dealing with those emotions before
Yes.
they get serious.
Because he hasn't.
No.
He has been insisting, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine.
Yeah. I don't think he can get serious with somebody else until he confronts it and has a talk with them about it. We
Yeah.
don't even know if Edie knows. I mean, Edie has to know because he's the governor and it was highly publicized that he was engaged in all of this. And
Yeah.
so she even has to know it's Elizabeth. I mean, I can't even imagine how she wouldn't know. But I don't think they've talked about it to each
No.
other.
No.
Other people may have like clued her in on some details, but they need to have that talk.
Yes, they do need to have that talk. And I have to tell you, my heart was broken. I mean, the fact that Lucas said right off the bat, I saw you and Fernando. I said, okay, no games. This is good.
Right.
This is
Right.
really good.
Yes.
But then at the same time, he's saying, you don't owe me any explanations. He's trying to brush it off and he's trying to brush it under the rug. So he's doing both.
Yeah.
And
He's putting up a wall so he doesn't
he's
have to feel the
putting up a
emotions.
wall, but he's also being honest about the wall,
Yes.
which is incredibly mature
Yes.
and incredibly emotionally settled and emotionally aware of him. He's very self-aware.
Yes. That he's
He
not ready to
always
get
has been, but he's being very self-aware here.
Yeah.
And when he said, I've been here before, I almost started crying.
His voice almost cracked. Like
It did.
Chris did
It
an
did
amazing
crack.
job. Chris did an amazing job in that scene.
That scene, that it was heartbreaking. Like I said, I loved what Edie said, trying to pull him back, trying to keep him there. You may have been here before, Lucas, but we haven't. It's not going to fix everything. The fact that they haven't been there together. That's not going to fix it. But it's a perspective that he needed to hear. And the way that oh gosh, the way that she played with his tie and then he put his hand over hers right there on his chest, it just, oh my gosh. But then, I mean, he could have totally turned it on her. He
Yeah.
could have completely turned it on her. But he says, you don't deserve that. When he says, I don't want to make a promise to you that I cannot honor. You don't deserve that. I just, oh, it's
Which
breaking my heart over
it
here.
is, but also it's like it's a product of its time because it does seem like in that time period, and granted, this is a fictionalized version of that time period, but it
Yeah.
seems like in that time period, dating someone was much more serious than it is
Oh,
now.
yes.
And
Oh,
so
yes.
in his
You
mind,
didn't.
he's like, I can't show interest in you unless I'm like 100% committed to you and we're talking about marriage. And it's like, I mean, yes, and like, that doesn't mean you have to completely break up with her because you're not 100% ready to commit. Like, you can still communicate and see where it goes.
But you know what? After Jeanette,
Oh, gosh, yeah.
and then
She
he
screwed him up
went,
even more than Elizabeth.
yeah. And then this years long thing with Elizabeth. I mean, why would he enter into a relationship that he didn't see going somewhere? Because I think he was such a cad in the beginning of his poker career, if you will.
And all those things he always said to Elizabeth, like, they were true. He wants stability that he didn't have as a child. He wants family and someone to be a partner.
And I think that one of the reasons he wanted the stability and family so much is because he never let himself get tied down to anybody before because he always moved around. And even when he wasn't a child anymore and he wasn't moving around with his parents, I think that he moved around and he didn't stay settled in one place. That's why Jeanette became such a solid figure in his life because she was going with him for
Yeah.
quite a while.
Yeah.
And then things broke off between them. We don't know how badly, and obviously it wasn't over for her. But
And now it has broken off quite badly again.
yes, indeed. And so I can't blame him for saying, I think I just need time. But when she said, how much time? And he says, I don't know. And then she had to go and take that as a rejection and leave town. Dang it all.
To be fair, she isn't just moving away. She went and took a meeting.
Did she take a meeting or was she taking a job?
Well, everything I understood was that there was a meeting available to her.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's an interview, maybe it's like the start of something, but at that point in your life, if you're single and you don't have any ties, and this guy has just told you that, and you're heartbroken because you think
And
it's
you just
over.
got offered a huge opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'd move, but I would probably take the interview.
Lucas and Mike.
Oh, that was, yeah.
Him. And, this is one of the things that I love about Ben playing Hickam because
Hmm.
you have to have that perfect balance between being the comic relief and being being somebody that a person can confide in and feel like you can have a serious talk with them.
Yeah.
And he pours him a drink without being asked because it looks like he could use one. And this this had this had an amazing amount of closure for me.
Mhm.
The fact that Lucas was acknowledging that what Elizabeth did hurt him,
Yeah.
and the fact that he still had the watch that she gave him, and he read the inscription out loud. Our time has come, and it never came. A lot of parties, myself included, thought that he was being too good to be true with how well he took being dumped, not just from a courtship, but an engagement, and their wedding was impending. You know, it was
Yeah. And I
coming
mean,
up.
I hate to keep saying this, but To me, it was even bigger than that because she has a child and he was preparing to become a father.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, to
And
me, that's
so,
just even bigger.
and so the fact that he is acknowledging that he's a little bitter and that he's a little hurt, that Elizabeth changed her mind. I don't resent her for it, but it changed something in me.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I don't even think it was, yeah, anything about her. It was about
No,
him. Yeah.
no, it
And
wasn't.
I
But
really like how they phrased that because you
yes,
do have to balance on the show, like not making her out to be the bad guy while also acknowledging the pain it still created.
yes. And that's what I thought was so brilliant because he is acknowledging that pain without making her the villain. But then Mike comes in with those incredibly wise words of his that he was standing right there, scared to ask May out because he was afraid of another heartbreak. And a very good friend of his said that he shouldn't miss his chance when the right person came along. That was you. You said that.
That was so perfect. That was so perfect. That line was amazing.
But then he gets profound once again, and this is probably my favorite line in the entire episode. Don't let your past steal your future. That needs to be engraved on a plaque somewhere. That was incredibly
Yeah.
profound.
Yeah.
But the ironic part and the sadness of it is, where is Miss Martell? In a taxi leaving Hope Valley.
Yeah.
And hopefully she will not be gone too long.
Maybe he can make a grand gesture.
He's good at that. So let's talk about a human that is making some very human mistakes and a lot of them, and he's trying to use his charm to get past them and and caused a lot of this pain, punk.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of our visiting Spaniard?
Um, we talked about this a little bit last time. I do think he's a good guy. I do think he is disillusioned with the world around him and is used to getting his way
You
and
think?
used to having people kind of let him do what he wants and fawn all over him, probably.
I'm talking about fate. It brought us together once. Maybe it has again. No! She had to say no. And then finally he says the governor's a lucky man. But then, of course, Lucas looks over at the wrong time.
And again, I'm glad that I just keep going back to this. This is what I enjoy about it, is that it is not what I want to see, but I know in the long run it is what I needed to see. That is what they do on this show.
I know.
Him going through this is going to make their relationship so much stronger.
You mean like when Elizabeth is narrating at the very beginning of episode 7 that she was thinking about storms?
Hmm.
And that
Exactly.
storms bring about disaster, of course, but they bring about the opposite as well, and things grow back even stronger.
Hmm. He is going to be a stronger person. He is going to be more ready for a relationship, having confronted this stuff before they start out strong. If they started out and then had some kind of rocky situation, I think that would have been harder on him. This way, he's gonna know without a doubt as they start a relationship, that he can handle it, that he knows what he wants, that he's confronted all of his past feelings and can move on. I feel like that's what they're setting up and the reason for bringing Fernando in. The other thing about bringing Fernando in is one of the comments that was made was that she left Fernando.
Yes.
So in some ways, that does really mirror Elizabeth leaving Lucas and breaking
Mm-hmm.
off an engagement. They both left and broke off an engagement. Now, we obviously don't know the reasoning for sure behind that, but it does appear to really mirror it in that she woke up and realized that they were not meant to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And she apologized for doing that, but also said like that was the right thing to do. And so I think in the long run, having such a mirrored past with him is going to bring them together more.
Yes, but in the meantime, he's showing off a whole lot.
I gotta say, I get that old habits die hard, but I liked the no vest option.
Oh, you liked him divested.
I thought that was a little fun to
I
see
was
him.
talking about Fernando showing off. Yeah.
I thought it was fun to see Lucas attempt to loosen up a bit, and that was as far as it got. Was not wearing a vest one day. Because we talked when he first came to town, we were talking about just how different it was to have somebody that was just like in suits all the time and was
In
just
a
like so
three-piece suit.
formal and everything. It was similar to like how Lee entered town originally, but then he loosened up a bit. And he was always a little bit more fun with his suits,
Yeah,
a little bit brighter and more colorful. But he was the only other one that really was ever dressed up all the time.
yeah,
Well, maybe Gowan, but it was a totally different style with
yeah.
the fur. Uh,
Well, but I have every reason to believe that Lucas tried to loosen up because Fernando had such a loose
oh,
style.
absolutely. Oh, I know. And I
Yeah.
mean, we knew
And
that too.
yeah, he knew that too, especially after he sings to a horse. Yeah. Which, by the way, I looked up the song. It is an actual song. I thought maybe he was making it up or maybe the actor had written it himself. No, it was written by Jose Maria Lacalle Garcia in 1920.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I didn't know what an amapola was. And he kept on saying that word over and over. I was like, what the heck is an amapola? An amapola means poppy, as in a flower.
Hmm.
So the literal translation, so cariño means sweetheart, tranquilo means take it easy or calm down, and then so the part that he sang all the way through to her was Poppy, my very beautiful Poppy, you'll always be my sweetheart, or you'll always be in my soul. There are two ways you can take it. Only you, I love you, my little one.
Aw.
So that's the literal. Then there is an English translation. It says, Amapola, my pretty little poppy, you're like that lovely flower, so sweet and heavenly. Since I found you, my heart is wrapped around you, and loving you, it seems to be a rhapsody.
That's pretty
So,
also. Yeah, that's a nice song.
yeah. So that's Fernando's song that he even wooed a horse with. And then he woos an entire town with
Yeah, he
flowers
did.
and his charm on set. What do you think of Faith and Fernando together?
I mean, I don't see it lasting, but
Oh,
I
no, no,
am
no.
really glad that she finally got to kiss a Mountie. because that's been on her mind a really long time. I think Andrea said something about that. I mean, really, that's like a setup that's been, 11 years in the making.
Yeah, very true. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's talk about the real Mountie. The part that stuck out the most to me in episode 7 in a jam is that Nathan, he does two things that are truly heroic for Christopher.
Mhm.
And actually, he does two in one. So when they're
Mhm.
walking, he says, Rachel knows what kind of man you are. I bet you a nickel she stays by your side. Believe it or not, I've made some mistakes in my life. And then right after that, he saves him from getting run over by a car. Which, by the way, it cannot be Fernando because Fernando was out helping get the horse. So it's not
Yeah, no.
Fernando.
So
He's not part of it. Sorry, Liam.
unfortunately, unfortunately, Liam has not passed the prediction test.
Not this time.
Not this time. What's interesting is that he managed to get the plate. I
Uh-uh.
couldn't even get the plate. And I
Uh-uh.
and I saw it coming. He was turned around.
He's a Mountie. It's
Yeah,
training.
pretty amazing.
The second really heroic thing he does is he brings Christopher to the infirmary, and then it turns out that he's hurt too. That was right out of Heartland. They did an episode once. It didn't involve Kevin McGarry's character, Mitch, but it was these two young married people, the two protagonists, and they're being hunted by poachers
Hmm.
because they are trying to stop all the poaching that's been going on. And so the poachers are now after them. And the wife is the one being shot at, and the husband sees the glint of the gun and knocks her to the ground. She's hit. She's the one that becomes unconscious. He gets her to the hospital. The doctor who runs out to meet them says, Sir, you're hurt too. No, that's my wife's blood. And it turns out that no, it's his. And actually, he eventually ends up dying from complications, which is very sad.
Oh my,
You gotta have the hero who's hurt too, and
yeah,
who's hurt too, but he put somebody else before himself.
yeah.
And then, even though when she comes to see him and he's okay, there's no kiss. But he says, I'm going to catch whoever did this.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it hurts so much in the end of episode 8, take 2. No wonder I couldn't pull it off, meaning the Mountie who returns a hero. He says that he felt like a fraud in front of the camera. I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I'm failing you, which I don't know how he could possibly think that, but I feel
I
like I'm failing. I feel like I'm failing you. I feel like I'm failing Benson Hills. I let him slip through my fingers.
honestly, as much growth as Nathan has had, what I kept, I'm really glad it didn't come up, but it still could, who knows? I kept wondering if he was going to say something about the screenplay she wrote and about how the character was more like Jack than him.
Ooh,
Because that honestly felt more like where it was going because it was a very specific story that sounded a lot like it mirrored some of the things that happened in the early seasons with Jack when he saved her
kidnapped
from being kidnapped.
and then leaves and returns a hero.
Yeah, and so I just wondered if he was going to have a little bit more. And I know he's kind of worked through a lot of that, but I don't know if you ever 100% move through that when you're, I mean, I feel like it's always got to be a part of your story when you're with someone who has a deceased partner.
It's always back here.
It's always going to be there, but especially if there's a lot of similarities between you and the deceased partner.
Yeah.
Because if she says, "Oh, the teacher and the Mountie," it's like, well, that could be either one, like
But that would never happen.
that would never happen.
I loved
It's
that little
only
quip.
happened twice on this show.
I loved that little quip. It was so cute.
And so it's not that I thought she was necessarily pulling from specific memories of Jack, but she was writing what she knew, and she was kind of writing about situations that had happened with Jack. And so in some ways, even if it was subconsciously, there could have been a little bit of overlap in how she was writing things. And if he's reading it and going, well, I don't talk like that, or I don't carry myself that way, and then not feeling like it's you, and then also having at the exact same time these concerns about your abilities and your job, I can absolutely see feeling like a fraud, at least briefly, like feeling like I'm not living up to what I'm capable of or what people see me as.
You know what? I was about to say absolutely 100%. And then I remembered he has saved her from being held hostage, not necessarily
Yes.
kidnapped,
No,
but
it's
he
just the way
has.
she described it sounded exactly like the Tolliver gang.
Oh, absolutely. But the fact remains that he has saved her twice from being held hostage by two different bad guys.
Uh, three. Because the Garrisons in last season, out when they were trying to dig up the coins,
Oh,
technically. I mean, it
that
wasn't really kidnapped, but she was being held with a
that
gun.
that was Allie and Oliver. That
Yeah,
she
but
she was she was
here.
there for two
She was
minutes.
there waving her bell.
Oh, please. No, that was just so ridiculous. I can't even acknowledge that as a kidnapping. But thank heavens that he has rescued her
Yeah.
from two different bad guys, three if you include the Garrisons, but that was, she was being held for 2 minutes. But
You can die in 2 minutes.
okay, fine, you can die in 2 minutes. But real hostage situations, there were two of them. And he saved her both times. He played a hand in saving her both times.
Yes.
And so, and that's why I was so glad, because she could have turned this into Jack. But when Rosemary was saying, "You're the heroic Mountie," she goes, "Ooh, just channel yourself." I said, "Oh,
Yeah. No, it was
good
clear she had
girl."
in mind. It was absolutely clear it was what she meant, but I could just see him being concerned and wondering.
Yes, but that's why I'm saying good for her to boost his confidence, to give him
Yeah.
that adoring eye, and
Yes.
to give him that accolade,
Yes.
that
100%.
because that's a woman in love. And
Yes.
if they're that in love, then why is it so hard to kiss? He's dipped her and kissed her before. Come on.
The dip was
Oh
hilarious.
my gosh.
That was so funny, the way that they played that scene. It was very good comedy.
So we got the really good comedy, and then we've got the really good drama in a good way. When Nathan says,
Mm.
you know, when that car was coming towards us, the only thing I could think about was you three. Elizabeth, if anything ever happened to me, would you, would I look after Allie? I'd do more than that. I'd fight to make sure every dream you have for her comes true. Same goes for LJ. If anything, God forbid, were to ever, you're the one I'd want to watch over him. You say the next line, I can't do it.
He was my own son.
Okay, I kid you not. When he said, when that car was coming towards us, the only thing I could think about was you three, I swear he was going to get down on a knee right there. Yeah,
I knew he wasn't, but I
I
wished he.
knew he wasn't, but just
I want to point out two things about that scene. So one was
okay, I'll let you.
it was absolute perfection to have Allie and LJ playing loudly, rambunctiously upstairs
Yes.
because it was so much like they were already a family.
Yeah.
If they were the same age, if they were closer in age, it wouldn't seem so much, but it's like she's so much older that to have them playing like that, it's a sibling thing.
Yeah.
It's not friends. It's not a babysitter playing with the kid she's in charge of. It's
No.
very much a mutual love for each other.
Yeah.
And she's acting like a kid because she's with her kid brother. And he loves her. He
He
wants her
does.
to be his sister.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're up there being rambunctious and Allie, who's practically an adult, doesn't respond in a responsible way when they yell up to calm down and go to bed. Like she's still goofing off. She's still playing with him. They're not following the rules. They're just being kids, having a wonderful time together, which is hilarious when I think about it because my kids are usually fighting. But there are other moments when they're doing the rambunctious fun thing.
Of
Uh,
course.
but so that was just such a perfect thing to be happening at the same time as that
Yes.
discussion because it just felt so natural and so much like, of course we would do this for each other. It's fabulous they're having the conversation because so many people don't. But like that almost seemed, I know you won't believe this, it almost seemed bigger than a proposal in some ways. For
In
Nathan
some
to
ways.
just the previous episode to have put on hold any conversations about the future, he's not ready for that yet.
No.
But he 100% trusts her with his child if he's not there.
Yeah.
To me, that is like, I'm showing you I'm all in, even though I'm not ready to do that this second. He's still 100% showing that commitment in that moment, and she's reciprocating. And they're really showing they're on the same page, they're on that path. They're just not there yet, but they're very clearly acknowledging where they are and where they're going. And so I felt like that was very significant in a step towards that. And we know it's coming, so it's not like way off in the future. We know we're almost there. But like that was very significant. And I'm really glad they did that before the proposal. I feel like that's very significant to show the
The
family,
commitment.
the family bond and the commitment and the trust
Yeah.
is bigger than the romance. Like, and I like that's hard because we love the romance, but the romance is so great because all of that stuff is there.
Well, and we've said it a million times, especially this season. The romance may be taking a back burner, but the relationship is only getting stronger.
Well, and the other thing you and I've talked about a ton in the past is the trope of TV shows once somebody gets married that the show's over. And they've dragged out her being a married woman on this show about as many seasons as can possibly happen on any TV show. I don't think it can go any longer without, you know. And so you do have to find a way to make them a really strong couple that can carry the show without having it be all about romance. And
Yes.
I feel like the way that they have prepared us for things that were coming on the show in the past, like having Jack be away for a while before he came back and before he died, like it
Mhm.
was in ways like training the audience to be like, okay, this show can survive without him. We're gonna be okay. We can get through
Right.
that and get to the next step. And like, I
Exactly.
think if you right now show that this show is not only about their romance, they are strong and committed, and family is a key part of this show, and the ensemble and the town is a key part of this show, that it will get better ratings. It will have fans behind the full storyline more, and in theory, hopefully, keep the show going longer after they're married because we've proven that this show is so much more than just that. And
Yes.
so hopefully it has a longer term effect on the show by doing it this way.
The other way that I think they show them being a committed couple is they show them in all kinds of situations.
Mhm.
And in just these two episodes, we get three instances.
Okay.
We we get the very dramatic
Right.
with will you take care of my child if something happens to me? We get the totally goofy
Right.
and they're completely out of their minds with playfulness,
Right.
being totally goofy. And then you have the everyday. You have him rubbing her shoulders because she's been sitting at the typewriter for a long time. You have him saying, Happy riding, beautiful, which he has never done. He's never called her beautiful. He has said, You look beautiful, but
Right.
he has never called her beautiful. And then, Thanks for stopping by, handsome. And then we have the picnic. He has his dramatic moment of feeling like a failure. And then he realizes that he is doing all he can. He's doing his job well. And most importantly to him, the woman he loves has not lost faith in him. And so he says it perfectly. Out here where it matters, I think the Mountie gets the girl.
Yep.
Oh gosh, there are so many other things that we could talk about, but
Oof. Yes, hopefully, I do hope we come back to Opal and see more of her this season.
Yeah.
It was the other big thing this episode that I was just thrilled to see her take a more, lead in everything, really more grown up. I mean, for Rosemary to hire
Make her
her
a producer.
as a producer and put her basically in charge of the budget and the timeline,
Yeah.
that's very big of Rosemary.
Yeah, that's huge of Rosemary.
Um, so
So
yeah, that was just
yeah,
brilliant.
and there is so much to talk about with Florence and Ned. One thing I have to say though, did you notice what the villain's name was?
Yes! Oh
Neil
my
Fernley.
gosh! And not only what his name was, but even though he was the villain, the words they used to describe him were so full of respect and love for
Yeah,
Neil Fernley, who, if anybody watching doesn't know, was a huge part of When Calls the Heart for over a decade. Uh,
director, I think executive producer, just huge.
um, yeah, just a major part of the show. And his son, I believe, is working on the show now as well, which is
But
lovely.
Neil passed away in the summer of 2024, and he has been dearly missed.
And that was just a lovely tribute.
It was. And then for 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 Ned and Florence are the cute old couple. You know,
Sorry, guys.
they're
Sorry, guys. You're the cute old couple.
of Hope Valley.
I
They're the
know. I know.
they're the cute old couple of Hope Valley. But when she gets so upset about him throwing out the stuff in her jar, and then
Oh, Cammy.
oh gosh, I'm sorry.
I know. I know.
I have four hearts drawn to the side of it. The first walk we took together, you wore a beautiful green velvet hat, and the wind blew it off, and I didn't help you because I wanted to watch you chase it.
Gosh, I would have loved to have seen that scene. That
I would have so
would
badly.
have been such a good scene.
You baked a pie so delicious, I remembered the date, April 3rd, which is a birthday in my family. So I love
You remembered it
that.
too.
A Tuesday, and it was rhubarb. I remember my mom said, ugh, I hate rhubarb.
I mean, to me, that's not a great flavor by itself. It's usually good with another flavor. Like,
Well, maybe that's why it tastes so delicious because she put in other flavors.
I don't
And
know.
so
Like
the
in my family, the big one is strawberry rhubarb pie.
there you go.
But
I may forget to save things, but I remember you. I always remember you.
it was a good comeback. Yeah, because he screwed up pretty big.
And we always remember you, Hearties.
You!
Yes, we do. Even if we're not able to record every week, we want you to know you are on our minds. We always remember you. We always think about you. And we always wonder what is it they would like to hear this time.
And so
So,
we gave you a big, giant, really long episode. Uh, enjoy.
so cry with us, laugh with us, and then tell us what you think in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Wherever you are in your day, morning, afternoon, evening, make it a great one. Remember, you are loved, you are valued, you are important, and you are remembered. Bye, Hearties.
Bye, Hearties.